Welcome to Sleep, a place where every gentle sound guides you toward peace, and every moment helps you drift into deep, restful sleep. I'm so glad you've joined me tonight. Dear listener, settle in now and let your body soften into the space that is holding you. Notice the surface beneath you. Notice how it supports you without asking anything in return. Take a slow breath in through your nose, gentle and unhurried, and let it leave you just as calmly. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. This moment is enough. As you listen, allow your shoulders to drop a little, let your jaw loosen, let your hands rest where they naturally fall. If your thoughts are busy, that is all right. You do not need to chase them away. Simply let them drift, like leaves floating on quiet water, passing by without needing your attention. With each breath, imagine the world around you becoming slightly softer. Sounds in the distance fade. The air feels comfortable against your skin. You are safe here. You are allowed to rest. Keep calm, keep still, and let my voice do the work for you. Our story today begins at the end of a long journey. Our story today begins at Cosy Cottage, just as evening is settling in. The light is low and golden, the kind that stretches shadows gently across the ground. A narrow path leads up to the cottage door, bordered by tall grass that sways lazily in a mild breeze. Leaves rustle overhead, not in a hurry, just enough to remind you that the world is breathing along with you. The traveler arrives without a rush. The journey here was long, but it is over now. There is a sense of quiet satisfaction in reaching the door, key warm in hand, heart steady. The cottage stands small and welcoming, its windows glowing faintly as if they have been waiting. The door opens with a soft wooden sound. Inside, the air is cool and clean, carrying the faint scent of pine and old books. The cottage is simple but kind. A small table near the window, a rug that muffles footsteps, a fireplace resting patiently along the far wall. The traveler steps inside and closes the door, gently, carefully, as though not to disturb the calm that already lives here. A pause, just standing there for a moment, letting the silence settle. Outside, the breeze continues to move through the trees. Inside, everything feels still. A bag is set down near the door. Shoes are slipped off and placed neatly to the side. The floor beneath bare feet feels smooth and cool, grounding, reassuring. This place does not demand anything. It simply offers shelter. The traveler moves slowly from room to room, not to inspect, but to greet. A small kitchen with open shelves, a kettle resting on the stove, a single window above the sink, looking out toward the darkening garden. Somewhere nearby, a clock ticks softly, steady and patient. In the main room, the fireplace waits. The traveler kneels and lays a few pieces of wood inside, arranging them with care. A match is struck. The sound is brief, gentle. Soon, a small flame flickers to life, then another. The fire catches and begins its quiet work, crackling softly, filling the room with warmth and light. The glow dances across the walls. Shadows move slowly, like they are stretching after a long sleep. The traveler exhales, a deep and satisfied breath, and settles into a chair nearby. For a moment, there is nothing to do but watch the fire. The way the flames rise and fall, the soft pop of burning wood, the comforting heat spreads through the room. In the kitchen, water is poured into the kettle. It rests on the stove, warming gradually. The traveler moves unhurriedly, opening a cupboard, choosing a simple pot. Vegetables are rinsed, chopped slowly. The rhythmic sound of the knife, steady and soothing. Carrots, potatoes, an onion, sliced carefully, releasing a familiar, comforting scent. The soup comes together without fuss, water added, a pinch of salt, herbs sprinkled in by instinct rather than measurement. The kettle begins to hum quietly, a soft companion to the fire's crackle. As the soup simmers, the traveler leans against the counter and listens to the fire, to the wind brushing the cottage walls, to the calm inside their own chest. This is what arriving feels like. If these quiet tales are helping you drift off, a gentle like or a silent subscribe would mean the world. It helps this sleepy corner of the internet reach others who need a little calm too. I always wonder, where in the world are you listening from right now? If you're still awake, leave a whisper of a comment, maybe your city and the time on your clock. It's a beautiful thing, this quiet little global gathering, all connected through stories and stillness. Now, let's set the mood. Dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum and get comfortable. The soup is ladled into a simple bowl and carried to the table near the fire. Steam rises slowly, carrying warmth and comfort. Each spoonful is taken mindfully. There is no rush, just nourishment, simple and satisfying. Outside, night has fully arrived. The windows reflect the firelight now, turning the cottage inward, wrapping it in its own small world. The traveler finishes the soup and sets the bowl aside, feeling pleasantly full, gently tired. A few boxes remain unopened near the wall. They are not urgent. One is opened slowly. Inside, familiar items appear. Folded clothes, a well-worn book, a small framed photograph. Each thing is placed where it feels right, without overthinking. A sweater laid across the back of a chair. The book is set on a bedside table that waits quietly in the next room. The bedroom is modest and peaceful. A bed with crisp sheets. A window slightly open to let the night air drift in. Curtains move softly with the breeze. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls once, then falls silent. The traveler sits on the edge of the bed and removes the day, layer by layer, jacket folded, shirt placed aside. Muscles relax, as the body understands it is safe now. The fire was checked one last time. The flames have softened into glowing embers, steady and calm. A log is adjusted gently, ensuring warmth will last through the night. Lights are dimmed until only the fire and a single lamp remain. The cottage seems to sigh contentedly, as if it too is settling in for rest. The traveler lies down, sheets cool and smooth against the skin. The mattress supports every tired place without complaint. Breathing slows. The sounds of the cottage blend together into a quiet rhythm. Fire, wind, night. Thoughts drift in and out, slower now. There is nothing left to plan. Tomorrow can wait. Tonight is for rest. Cosy Cottage holds its guests gently. Walls warm, roof steady, windows watching over the dark. This is home for now, and that is enough. Let your breathing match the slow calm of this place. In and out, easy, unforced. With every breath, sink a little deeper. The journey is over. You have arrived. Outside, the sky has shifted into a deep velvet blue, scattered with stars that blink slowly, as if they too are growing sleepy. The breeze has softened, now only brushing the tops of the grass and the edges of the leaves. Inside, the cottage holds steady warmth, a gentle balance between the cool night air and the lingering comfort of the fire. The traveler turns slightly in bed, finding the most comfortable position without effort. The pillow cradles the head just right. The blanket settles across the body like a familiar weight, reassuring and calm. Each breath feels fuller now, smoother, like the body remembers how to rest. In the other room, the fire murmurs softly, a low and steady companion. The embers glow faintly, casting slow rhythmic patterns on the walls. Shadows move in a lazy dance, stretching and shrinking, never sharp, never startling. The cottage makes its nighttime sounds, a soft creak as the wood adjusts to the cooling air, the quiet tick of the clock, marking time without urgency. Somewhere, a floorboard settles with a gentle sigh. The traveler's thoughts drift easily, no longer attached to words or plans. Memories of the journey here feel distant, softened, like they belong to someone else. What remains is the present moment, the warmth, the stillness, the deep sense of being exactly where one is meant to be. Outside the bedroom window, moonlight slips through the glass and rests on the floor, pale and calm. It illuminates the edges of furniture, the curve of the doorframe, the quiet corners of the room. Nothing hides here. Everything is at ease. The traveler notices the rise and fall of their chest, slow, steady, unforced. Each breath gently rocks them closer to sleep. Muscles loosen further, especially those places that worked hardest during the journey. Shoulders soften, legs feel heavy and relaxed. Hands rest comfortably, fingers no longer holding on to anything. The cottage seems to listen, as though aware of its role tonight. It stands watch, solid and dependable. Its walls keep the night at bay. Its roof shelters. Its warmth surrounds. Somewhere far off, a breeze carries the scent of damp earth and wildflowers. It slips in through the open window, cool and refreshing, then drifts back out again. The curtains move slightly, like a slow, sleepy breath. The traveler lets their eyes close fully now. Darkness behind the eyelids feels safe, not empty. Gentle images float through the mind. The path leading to the cottage, the glow of the windows, the sound of the door closing behind them, sealing the outside world away. The bed seems to deepen, holding the body just a little more. Gravity does its quiet work, pulling every tired thought downward, letting it dissolve. In the kitchen, the pot from dinner rests clean and empty, waiting for another day. The table holds only the soft shine of firelight. Everything is in its place, or close enough. Nothing needs attention. The clock continues its calm ticking, but time feels different now, slower, wider, unimportant. The traveler floats in that gentle space between waking and sleep, where thoughts become softer and edges blur. A log in the fireplace shifts slightly, releasing a quiet crackle, then settles again. The sound is comforting, familiar, like a heartbeat. The cottage breathes. With every exhale, the traveler sinks deeper into the mattress. With every inhale, a sense of safety spreads a little further. The body understands that this is a place where rest is allowed. Images come and go without demand. A kettle steaming in the morning light, sun filtering through the trees. The cottage standing patiently, unchanged. These thoughts do not need to be held onto. They drift by and fade, replaced by warmth and calm. The night grows thicker outside, wrapping the cottage in stillness. Even the breeze has quieted now. Leaves barely move. The world seems to pause. The traveler's breathing slows further, finding a rhythm that feels ancient and natural. In, out. Each cycle is smoother than the last. The cottage stands, as it always has, a small island of comfort in a wide, quiet landscape. It knows how to hold a sleeper. It has done this before. The fire dims to a soft glow, embers pulsing gently. Shadows settle into stillness. The lamp casts a final pool of warm light before being turned low, then lower still, until the room rests in soft darkness. The traveler's thoughts thin out, stretching like mist, then dissolving entirely. There is no effort now. Sleep approaches not as something to chase, but as something that arrives naturally, like nightfall. The last sensation is warmth. The last sound is the faint crackle of embers. The last thought is a simple one: home. Sleep settles more deeply now, like a soft tide rising without effort. The traveler drifts, not fully asleep, not fully awake, resting in that gentle in-between where the body lets go and the mind wanders slowly, freely. In this space, Cosy Cottage feels even warmer, even quieter, as though it has leaned in just a little closer. Breathing becomes the only rhythm that matters. Each inhale draws in calm. Each exhale releases whatever is left of the day. There is no need to control it. The body knows exactly what to do. Somewhere in the half-dream state, the traveler senses the cottage at work. The walls hold steady. The floor keeps its gentle strength. The roof listens to the night sky and keeps watch. This is a place built not just of wood and stone, but of patience. Outside, the moon continues its slow journey, casting silver light across the garden. Dew settles on the grass. A small animal passes quietly along the fence line, pausing only briefly before continuing on its way. The world moves softly, respectfully, aware that rest is happening here. Inside, the bedroom air stays just right, cool enough to be fresh, warm enough to feel safe. The traveler turns slightly again, not waking, simply adjusting as sleep pulls them further under. The blanket rises and falls with each breath. In the quiet mind, images form gently. The traveler sees the cottage in daylight, morning sun spilling through the windows, dust motes floating lazily in the air, a kettle warming on the stove once more. These images feel pleasant but distant, as though they belong to another time. They drift away without effort. The fire in the other room settles fully now, embers glowing low and steady. There is no more crackling, just warmth, quietly doing its job. The clock continues to tick, but it sounds farther away, muffled, unimportant. The traveler sinks deeper into the mattress, muscles melting into rest. The tension that once lived in the neck, the back, the legs, all loosens and releases. Each part of the body feels heavier, supported, at peace. Thoughts become slower, simpler. A path through tall grass, a wooden door closing gently, a bowl of warm soup. Each image drifts in, then fades, like clouds passing across a wide sky. The cottage seems to hum now, a sound so soft it is felt rather than heard. It is the hum of safety, of shelter, of belonging. It wraps around the traveler and holds them there. Sleep deepens. The traveler no longer notices their breathing. It happens on its own, smooth and quiet. The body has taken over completely. The mind rests. Outside, clouds drift lazily across the stars. The night remains calm. No sudden sounds, no disturbances, just the steady presence of darkness and quiet. Inside, the cottage stands unchanged, patient, protective. The traveler is now fully asleep. Dreams come gently, without edges. There is no urgency in them, only slow movement. Perhaps the dream is of walking through the meadow near the cottage, feeling the grass brush against their hands. Perhaps it is sitting by the fire, watching flames curl and relax. Perhaps there are no images at all, just warmth and rest. Time stretches and softens. The cottage continues its watch through the night. If the wind stirs, it muffles the sound. If the temperature drops, it holds its warmth. If the traveler shifts, it supports without complaint. Hours pass unnoticed. The moon dips lower in the sky. The embers in the fireplace cool further, leaving behind a faint glow that slowly fades into darkness. Still, the room remains warm. The traveler sleeps on, undisturbed. In the quietest part of the night, when the world feels suspended, Cosy Cottage seems to breathe out a long, contented sigh. Another soul has found rest within its walls. Another journey has ended peacefully. The night moves on without asking to be noticed. Somewhere beyond the cottage walls, the darkest hour passes quietly. It is that part of the night when the world feels paused, when even time itself seems to rest. Inside Cosy Cottage, nothing changes, and that is exactly how it should be. The traveler sleeps deeply now, not the light kind of sleep that listens for sounds, but the heavy, comforting kind that wraps the body completely. Limbs feel distant and warm. Thoughts have dissolved into softness. The mind is quiet, like a lake at dawn before the birds arrive. Breathing is slow and even. The rise and fall of the chest is barely perceptible. Each breath is a promise that everything is fine, that nothing needs attention. The bedroom holds its calm. The walls are still. The window glass reflects only darkness and a faint suggestion of moonlight. The curtains hang without movement, resting at last. In the rest of the cottage, the rooms sit patiently. The kitchen counters are clean and waiting. The table stands ready for a future meal. The chair by the fire remains where it was left, angled slightly toward the hearth, as if it too might enjoy the warmth come morning. The cottage feels complete now, not because everything is finished, but because nothing is missing. Outside, the air cools slightly, and a thin mist settles over the grass. It moves slowly, quietly, respecting the sleep it surrounds. The trees stand tall and still, their branches barely whispering to one another. The traveler dreams. The dreams are gentle, unremarkable in the best possible way. There are no sharp edges, no loud sounds, only slow movement and familiar comfort. Perhaps there is a sense of walking barefoot across wooden floors warmed by sunlight. Perhaps the dream is simply a feeling, the feeling of arriving, the feeling of staying. The body responds by relaxing even further. The face softens, the jaw loosens completely. There is no tension left to release. Time continues to pass, unnoticed and uncounted. The clock ticks on, but its sound is swallowed by the deep quiet of sleep. Each second drifts by like a leaf floating downstream, never catching attention, never lingering. The cottage keeps watch through it all. It has known many nights like this. It understands what it means to shelter someone who needs rest. It understands the importance of silence, of warmth, of simply being present. Nothing interrupts the peace. Even the outside world seems to agree to wait. No cars pass nearby, no voices rise. The land rests alongside the traveler, sharing the stillness. The fire has long since gone dark, but its warmth lingers in the stones of the hearth and the walls around it. The heat releases slowly, gently, maintaining comfort without effort. The traveler remains asleep, drifting deeper into the night. Eventually, though it feels very far away, the night begins to loosen its hold. Not yet morning, but the beginning of change. The sky lightens by the smallest degree, almost imperceptible. Still, inside Cosy Cottage, sleep remains untouched. The traveler shifts once, just slightly, and settles again immediately. The movement is instinctive, guided entirely by comfort. There is no waking thought attached to it. Breathing stays slow, dreams soften further, fading into pure rest. The cottage continues to stand, unchanged and unwavering, holding the quiet with care. This is the heart of the night, the place where nothing happens and everything is exactly as it should be. And here, wrapped in stillness and warmth, the traveler rests on, safe and deeply asleep. The night stretches on, wide and unbroken, like a calm sea under a moon that barely moves. Inside Cosy Cottage, sleep has become complete. Not something the traveler is doing, but something they are inside of. The body rests heavily now, fully given over to stillness. Every muscle has softened, every joint has settled into a place of ease. There is no awareness of the bed, the room, or even the self as a separate thing. There is only rest. The cottage seems to know this moment well. Its walls hold the quiet gently, as though sound itself has been tucked away for safekeeping. The wooden beams overhead remain strong and steady, having watched over countless nights just like this one. They do not creak now, they do not shift, they simply remain. Outside, the mist thickens slightly in the meadow, rolling low along the ground. It moves slowly, almost thoughtfully, curling around stones and fence posts before drifting onward. The grass is dark with dew, each blade catching the faintest hint of moonlight. Far above, clouds slide lazily across the stars, dimming them for a while, then letting them shine again. The sky breathes, just as the traveler does, in long, unhurried rhythms. Inside the bedroom, the traveler's breathing is so calm, it almost seems to merge with the quiet of the room. Inhale, exhale. Each breath deepens the sense of safety. The nervous system has fully let go. There is no vigilance left, no need to listen for anything at all. Sleep deepens further. In this depth, time loses meaning. Minutes and hours blur together, indistinguishable from one another. The night becomes a single, continuous moment of rest. The traveler's dreams shift again, becoming even softer, less like images and more like sensations. The feeling of warmth on the skin, the sense of being held, the quiet certainty that everything is taken care of. Perhaps the dream carries the traveler through the cottage one more time. Not walking, not moving, just being present in each space. The kitchen, peaceful and ready. The hearth, still warm in memory. The front door, closed and secure. Each place feels familiar now, claimed gently as home. The body responds with deeper relaxation still. Fingers curl slightly, then rest. The brow smooths completely. There is no tension anywhere to be found. The cottage seems to lean into the stillness with the traveler. Even the air feels heavier, denser with calm. The silence is not empty. It is full of quiet, full of comfort, full of the kind of peace that comes only when nothing is expected. Outside, the wind does not return. The leaves remain still. The land holds its breath, as if honoring the depth of this rest. The night moves on, unnoticed. Eventually, somewhere far beyond awareness, the sky begins its slow transition. The deepest dark gives way to a subtle softening, a gradual easing that hints at dawn without announcing it. There is no sudden light, no birds yet, just the promise of morning waiting patiently. Inside the cottage, nothing changes. The traveler sleeps through it all. The body makes a small adjustment, barely a movement at all, and then settles again. The mattress responds immediately, supporting every curve, every point of contact. The blanket remains perfectly placed, neither to warm nor to cool. The clock continues its quiet work, but its ticking is now only a concept, not a sound. Time passes, but it does not intrude. The cottage holds steady. In this long stretch of night, there is a feeling of being reset, as though the traveler is being gently recalibrated, cell by cell, breath by breath. The weariness of the journey dissolves completely, replaced by a deep, steady energy, waiting to be rediscovered later. For now, rest is all that exists. Outside, the mist begins to thin. The sky lightens another shade. Somewhere very far away, a bird stirs, but does not yet sing. The world prepares itself quietly, respectfully. Inside, Cosy Cottage remains a pocket of calm, untouched by the coming day. The traveler's sleep remains deep and uninterrupted. Dreams fade almost entirely now, giving way to a vast, quiet darkness that feels soft rather than empty. A place where the mind rests fully, unburdened by thought or image. The cottage seems to glow faintly from within, not with warmth, the kind of warmth that lingers in walls and floors, earned slowly over time. This place has become home, not just because the traveler is here, but because rest has been welcomed and received. The night continues to cradle both cottage and traveler together, holding them in stillness until the very first signs of morning feel ready to arrive. And until then, there is nothing to do, nothing to think, nothing to be, only sleep, deep and gentle, carrying the traveler onward, safely, quietly, through the remaining hours of the night. The quiet before morning has a special quality to it. It is deeper than ordinary silence, thicker, almost velvety. Inside Cosy Cottage, that silence wraps itself around every corner, every surface, every breath. It does not press in. It does not demand attention. It simply exists, steady and reassuring. The traveler remains asleep, completely surrendered to rest. The body lies heavy and warm, as if gently anchored in place. There is no sense of time passing, no awareness of night giving way to day. Sleep has smoothed everything into one long, continuous moment. Breathing continues, slow and rhythmic. Each inhale brings calm. Each exhale releases it back into the room. The air seems to move in response, flowing softly, never cool, never still. The cottage listens. The wooden floorboards, the stone hearth, the old beams overhead all seem to share an understanding. This is a moment to be held carefully. Nothing creaks, nothing shifts. Even the walls seem to rest. Outside, the sky lightens almost imperceptibly. The deep blue softens into something gentler, something quieter. A faint wash of gray spreads near the horizon, like watercolor slowly soaking into paper. Still, no birds sing yet. They wait. The meadow remains covered in dew, each blade of grass heavy with moisture. The mist has thinned, lifting gradually, revealing the shapes of stones and wildflowers beneath it. The air feels fresh, clean, and new. even though the night has not quite released its hold. Inside the cottage, warmth lingers everywhere. It is stored in the walls, the floor, and the furniture. The fire may be long gone, but its comfort remains slow to fade. The traveler stirs faintly, not waking, just shifting in deeper sleep. An arm moves slightly. A leg relaxes further. The body finds an even more comfortable position, then becomes still again. Sleep deepens once more. In the mind, there is no story now. No images, no dreams with shape or color. Only a sense of floating, of being suspended in a soft, endless calm. It is the kind of sleep that restores without effort, without awareness. Time continues to pass quietly. The clock marks it faithfully, but its presence is barely felt. Seconds drift into minutes. Minutes stretch into something wider, something unmeasured. The cottage remains unchanged. The front door stays closed, solid and secure. The windows hold the outside world at a respectful distance. The rooms remain exactly as they were left, peaceful and ready. The kitchen waits for morning light. The kettle sits patiently on the stove. The table holds the memory of warmth and nourishment. Everything feels settled, complete. Outside, the sky lightens another shade. Still no direct sunlight, just a gradual easing of darkness. The stars begin to fade. One by one, their work finished for the night. A breeze returns, barely noticeable, brushing the tops of the grass. It carries the scent of damp earth and early morning air. The trees respond with a quiet rustle, then fall still again. Inside, the traveler remains asleep. The breath is steady. The face is calm. There is no tension anywhere in the body. This is rest in its purest form, undisturbed and deep. The cottage seems to cradle the traveler, its presence solid and comforting. It is not watching in a way that feels intrusive. It is simply there, dependable and constant. Eventually, far beyond awareness, the night gives way just a little more. The sky shifts toward pale blue at the edges. The horizon brightens softly. Still, the cottage does not rush. Morning will come when it comes. For now, there is still time to rest. The first true sign of morning is not sound, but light. It arrives quietly, slipping into the world without announcement. A pale glow gathers at the horizon, barely noticeable at first, like a thought forming before words. Outside Cosy Cottage, the sky shifts from deep blue into soft gray, then slowly into a muted wash of early color. Inside, nothing changes yet. The traveler remains asleep, wrapped in warmth and stillness. Breathing is deep and even unbroken by the approaching day. The body does not feel the need to wake, not yet. Light reaches the meadow and settles there gently. Dew on the grass begins to sparkle faintly, each droplet catching the new light and holding it for a moment. The mist continues to lift, thinning into the air until it disappears entirely. A bird stirs somewhere in the trees. It does not sing yet. It simply adjusts its position, feathers rustling softly as if stretching after the long night. Inside the cottage, the bedroom remains calm and dim. The curtains soften the light as it grows, filtering it into something warm and quiet. The edges of the room become visible again, slowly, kindly. The traveler shifts slightly, still asleep. The movement is small, instinctive. A shoulder relaxes. The head turns just enough to find a new, comfortable place on the pillow. Sleep remains deep. The cottage welcomes the morning without disturbance. Its walls absorb the changing light. Its floors stay warm beneath the lingering heat of the night. Everything feels settled, content. Another bird joins the first, offering a single gentle note. Then silence again. The world tests the morning carefully, making sure it is welcome. The traveler's dreams begin to change, though they are still soft and shapeless. There is a sense of light now, of openness, of calm anticipation without urgency. Breathing remains slow. Outside, the sky brightens another shade. The stars are gone now, their work complete. The sun is still hidden, but its presence is felt, warming the air ever so slightly. Inside, the cottage feels alive in a quiet way. The wood responds to the warming air with a faint, barely audible shift. Not a creak, just a gentle settling. The traveler exhales deeply and remains asleep. Time moves forward, unforced. Eventually, a bird sings again. This time, the sound lingers just a bit longer. It floats through the air, light and clear, and drifts toward the cottage window. The sound is soft enough not to startle, not to intrude, just enough to exist. The traveler stirs once more. Eyelids flutter faintly, but do not open. The mind is still wrapped in rest, but awareness begins to return in the gentlest way, not as thought, but as sensation, warmth, comfort, safety. The bed still supports every part of the body. The blanket remains perfectly placed. Nothing has changed. Nothing needs to. Light presses a little more firmly against the curtains now, turning them pale and glowing. The room feels peaceful, welcoming, ready for whatever comes next, but in no hurry at all. The traveler takes a slightly deeper breath. Sleep loosens its hold just a little. The mind drifts at the edge of waking, floating between dreams and awareness. There is no alarm, no sudden sound, just the natural pull of morning, slow and respectful. Outside, more birds join the quiet chorus, each voice gentle, unhurried. The breeze returns, light and cool, brushing the cottage walls, as if to say good morning. Inside, the traveler opens their eyes. Not fully, just a sliver, enough to let the light in. The ceiling comes into focus, familiar now, comforting. The realization arrives softly, without words. I am here, I am safe, I am home. The traveler does not move yet. There is no reason to rush. Morning will wait. Breathing stays calm. The body remains relaxed. The day has not begun in any demanding way. It simply exists, patiently, on the other side of rest. Cosy Cottage holds the moment perfectly, and for just a little longer, the traveler stays exactly where they are, wrapped in warmth and quiet, letting the morning arrive around them, one gentle breath at a time. Spring arrives at Cosy Cottage, almost without asking. One morning, the windows are opened wide, not with urgency, but with a quiet sense of trust in the day. Fresh air drifts inside, cool and lightly scented with grass, new leaves, and damp earth warming in the sun. It moves through the rooms slowly, lifting curtains just enough to let them sway, then setting them back down again. Birdsong fills the space where silence once lived, not loud, not demanding, just layered, gentle music. A robin calls from the fence, another answer from the apple tree. Somewhere farther off, a chorus joins in, each voice weaving into the next, creating a sound that feels alive and reassuring. Sunlight spills through the open windows and stretches across the wooden floors. It settles in warm patches, inviting stillness. Dust motes float lazily in the air, turning slowly as if they, too, are waking up after a long rest. The cottage feels different now, lighter, as though it has taken a deeper breath. The traveler moves through the rooms at an unhurried pace, barefoot on sun-warmed floorboards. The chill of winter has fully released its hold. The air no longer bites, it is welcome. It carries the promise of long days and slow evenings. Outside, the garden has begun to change. Buds open quietly on branches. Green pushes up through the soil in places where nothing stirred before. Bees move lazily from flower to flower, unbothered by time. The breeze carries their soft hum along with it. Inside, the open windows allow every sound to pass through gently. Leaves rustle, birds call. Somewhere, water trickles softly, perhaps from a nearby stream, made lively again by melting snow and spring rain. The traveler pauses near the window, resting their hands on the sill. The wood is smooth and sun-warmed. They lean slightly forward and breathe in deeply, filling their lungs with the season. The air feels clean, new, full of possibility, but without pressure. There is no rush to do anything. Spring does not demand productivity here. It simply invites awareness. A kettle warms on the stove, its quiet hum blending with the birdsong outside. The sound feels comforting, familiar. Soon there will be tea, maybe breakfast, but not yet. For now, it is enough to stand still and listen. The breeze moves through the cottage again, carrying the scent of blossoms inside. It brushes past the traveler's skin, cool and gentle, then slips out through another open window, leaving the space refreshed. The cottage responds with soft sounds of its own. Wood expands slightly in the warmth, a faint creak as a beam adjusts. Nothing sudden, nothing sharp, just signs of life waking up together. Outside, clouds drift slowly across a pale blue sky. They move without urgency, reshaping themselves quietly as they go. Sunlight comes and goes, creating patterns that glide across the walls and floors inside. The traveler sits near the window, letting the light rest on their face, eyes close for a moment. The birdsong continues, steady and soothing, rising and falling naturally. Each note feels like a reminder that the world knows how to begin again. Breathing slows, shoulders relax. Spring does its work gently. In the garden, a breeze stirs the grass, creating a soft, whispering sound that blends perfectly with the calls of birds overhead. The cottage stands open to it all, no longer sealed against the cold, but welcoming every small movement of air and sound. The windows stay open all day. Sounds drift in and out. Laughter from birds, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of something unseen. Inside, the cottage remains calm and grounded, a steady place amid the subtle activity of the season. As afternoon approaches, the light shifts again, growing warmer, softer. Shadows lengthen. The air remains fresh, carrying just enough warmth to feel comforting. Spring settles into Cosy Cottage, not as a dramatic change, but as a gentle agreement between the indoors and the world outside. An understanding that the time of closing in has passed, that it is safe now to open up. And so the windows remain wide, the birds continue their songs, and the cottage rests quietly in the middle of it all, breathing with the season, holding peace just as easily as it once held winter's silence. Spring does not arrive all at once at Cosy Cottage. It unfolds. It begins with the windows staying open longer each day. At first, just an inch or two, enough to let the air test its way inside, then wider, until the cottage seems to sigh with relief, as if it has been waiting for this moment. Fresh air moves freely now, wandering through rooms without obstruction, carrying with it the quiet energy of the season. Birdsong becomes a constant companion, not something to listen for, but something that is simply there. It drifts in through the windows in soft layers, close calls and distant ones, short trills and longer wandering melodies. No two moments sound the same, yet none feel out of place. The birds are not performing, they are conversing, greeting the morning, marking the hours. Sunlight feels different in spring. It no longer just warms, it is reassuring. It slides across the windowsills and spills onto the floor, settling in gentle pools that shift slowly as the day moves on. The light is pale but alive, illuminating the grain of the wood, the edges of furniture, the quiet corners that stayed dim all winter. Dust motes drift lazily in the beams, turning and floating as if they have nowhere else they would rather be. The cottage feels awake, but unhurried. Curtains sway slightly with each passing breeze. They lift, fall, and lift again, like a slow breath. The air smells faintly green now, of new leaves, of damp soil warming after rain, of something beginning again, without needing instruction. Outside, the garden changes a little every day. One morning, small buds appeared where branches were bare. Another day, thin green shoots pushed through the earth, tentative at first, then stronger. By the fence, tiny flowers open quietly, their colors soft and unassuming. Bees arrive without announcement, moving lazily from bloom to bloom, their low hum blending seamlessly with the birdsong above. The traveler spends more time near the windows now, sometimes standing, sometimes sitting, sometimes simply leaning on the sill, feeling the cool wood beneath their hands while the sun warms their face. Breathing becomes deeper without effort. Each inhale brings in the outside world. Each exhale releases the last traces of winter's stillness. There is no need to fill the day. Spring offers enough on its own. A kettle warms on the stove, its gentle sound mingling with the calls of birds. The lid rattles softly for a moment, then settles. Steam rises and drifts toward the open window, disappearing into the air outside, as if returning to where it belongs. The traveler pours hot water into a mug and carries it to the window. The cup is warm in their hands. They sip slowly, watching the garden move. A leaf trembles in the breeze. A bird hops along the fence, tilting its head, alert but calm. Inside, the cottage responds to the warmth. The wood expands slightly, releasing faint, friendly sounds, not sharp or sudden, just small reminders that this place is alive too, adjusting to the changing season. The open windows let in everything gently. The distant sound of water running somewhere nearby, the whisper of grass brushing against itself, the occasional flutter of wings passing close. None of it intrudes, all of it belongs. As the day stretches on, light shifts across the rooms. Morning brightness softens into something warmer by afternoon. Shadows grow longer, slower, tracing familiar paths along the walls and floors. The cottage holds these changes easily, without resistance. The traveler moves through the space barefoot, enjoying the feel of sun-warmed floorboards beneath their feet. The chill that once lived near the ground has gone. In its place is comfort, balance, ease. Doors stay open now too, between rooms, between inside and outside. The cottage feels connected, not sealed off. Sounds and air move freely, creating a gentle sense of flow. Nothing feels closed in. Nothing feels exposed. Just open enough. In the afternoon, clouds drift lazily across the sky, occasionally dimming the sunlight before letting it return again. Each change is gradual, unremarkable, soothing. The birds adjust their songs without pause, as if they know exactly how this day will unfold. Sometimes the traveler steps outside and leaves the door open behind them. The cottage does not mind. It listens while footsteps move through grass. It listens while a chair scrapes softly across the ground and settles in a sunny spot. It listens while the traveler sits, doing nothing at all. The air carries warmth now, but never heaviness. It feels clean, alive. Each breeze refreshes rather than chills. It lifts hair from the traveler's face, cools the skin, then moves on. Inside, the windows remain wide. Sounds layer gently. Birds nearer and farther away. Leaves overhead. The faint clink of a mug set down on a table. The soft creak of a chair shifting weight. All of it blends into a soundscape that feels natural and grounding. Spring afternoons pass easily here. No clocks are watched. No lists are checked. Time stretches without tension. Moments drift into one another, each complete on its own. As evening approaches, the birdsong changes. Some voices fall silent, others take their place. The light turns golden, then slowly pale. The air cools just enough to feel refreshing. The traveler might pull on a light sweater, but the windows stay open. The season is trusted now. The cottage glows softly in the late light. The open windows frame the outside world like living pictures. Trees sway gently. The sky shifts color. The day releases itself slowly. Spring settles into Cosy Cottage, not as a single moment, but as a way of being. Open windows, birdsong, light that moves without urgency. A quiet understanding between the cottage and the world beyond its walls. Everything breathes together. Nothing needs to be rushed. Nothing needs to be held onto. Spring simply stays, and the cottage, warm and welcoming, stays with it. I woke up slowly. The sun has begun its gentle work, spilling through the lace curtains that I've held in place for many springs. Its light slides across my floors, tracing the grain of my boards, and I feel a warmth spread through me that has nothing to do with the fire. The sunlight drifts lazily across the rugs, pauses for a moment on the soft edges of chairs, then continues, unhurried, as if it too is savoring the morning. My floorboards stretch quietly. They know the weight of footsteps returning, the gentle tread of someone who belongs here, a soft creak, a sigh of wood adjusting itself, and I feel alive again. Each movement wakes me more, reminds me of the rhythm I have always kept steady, unhurried, patient. The boards remember every step ever taken across them, every laugh, every soft sigh, every moment of quiet reflection. The kettle begins to hum on my stove, and I feel the warmth of its water spreading upward, curling into the air. Steam rises and fills my rooms with that familiar scent of comfort, like the first cup of tea after a long day. One listen as it bubbles, low and steady, a small domestic music. I know what is coming next. The cup lifted to my lips, the sigh of satisfaction, the pause to look out my windows and breathe. The curtains move slightly in the breeze, brushing softly against the window frames. Their lace catches the light, scattering it across my walls in tiny patterns, dancing and shifting, as if to say, here we are, here we live again. I feel the warmth of the air coming through open windows, carrying birdsong, the scent of earth, the hint of blossoms. Each note of a bird, each whisper of leaves slips into me, and I respond by holding it, keeping it safe inside my walls. I remember the quiet that used to live here in winter, when I was still, when the walls were empty and the hearth slept. I loved that silence, but I love this new life even more. Every object, every person who comes back to me makes me feel needed. The chairs, the rugs, the bed, they all find purpose again. I can feel the mattress hold someone's weight, the blankets shift with a gentle sigh, the fire crackle once more. I am alive in ways that silence alone cannot provide. The sunlight moves across me now, reaching the corner where the traveler will soon stand, mug in hand, watching the garden. I feel anticipation, not urgent, not anxious, just the calm joy of being seen, of being appreciated, of being needed again. My walls hum softly with it. Even the ceiling beams, old and steady, seem to lean closer, listening to the small life that has returned to me. I watch as the kettle is lifted, as the steam curls around the hands that pour it, and I feel the warmth spread further. There is laughter in the room, not loud, not hurried, but enough to remind me that I am home to someone. And that is my purpose, my quiet joy, to hold, to welcome, to cradle, to let each day drift through my windows without rush, without interruption. Each sound, the bird's song, the creak of floorboards, the rustle of curtains, the murmur of water's music to me. It tells me that I am alive again, that the day has begun properly, that life, in its simple, unhurried form, is flowing through me once more. I feel proud, not boastful, just steady and sure in my role. I am at home. I am a place to rest, to breathe, to awaken. I am Cosy Cottage, and I am awake. The windows are open now, wider than before. I let the air drift freely through me, carrying scents of spring and warmth. I hold it carefully, letting it move past without spilling. Outside, the garden leans toward me, reaching with soft green fingers and tiny blooms. I watch the dance of light and shadow across my rooms, the soft interplay of air and warmth, and I feel joy. Not a loud joy, not a rushing joy, but the quiet, deep satisfaction of being lived in again, of knowing that everything within me has a purpose, a place, a reason to be. And as the morning grows, I wait for the small, ordinary moments, the first sip of tea, the soft exhale of someone settling into my embrace, the gentle touch of hands across my counters. These are the moments that make me whole. I am not just walls. I am not just wood and stone. I am comfortable. I am at peace. I am the quiet hum beneath life itself. And I am glad. The birds are louder now, but still gentle, as if they, too, are respecting the calm I hold. Their songs tumble through the open windows in delicate layers. I catch each one, the robin's clear, ringing notes, the soft trill of a wren, the low, hesitant hum of a sparrow. I hold them carefully, letting them linger in the air, brushing against my walls and beams, wrapping the traveler in a sound that soothes without effort. Sunlight has moved further across my floors now, drifting from the warmth of the windowsill toward the center of the room. It brushes the edges of the rug, warming the fibers, and I can almost feel the weight of each thread responding to the light. The air carries the faint scent of blossoms from the garden. mingling with the lingering aroma of the kettle, and I feel a quiet joy in this layering of life. The traveler shifts. I feel the weight move across the mattress, a small, contented sigh escaping as they settle more comfortably. Their presence is subtle yet full, filling me in ways no sound can entirely describe. Every step they take across my floors leaves a memory behind, a gentle vibration that hums in my boards. I remember the echo of every step ever taken across me, soft thuds, hurried scuffs, quiet tiptoes, and now I feel proud again, holding the life of someone who trusts me fully. The kettle hums and bubbles again, reaching its gentle crescendo before settling. Steam rises and drifts toward the window, twisting softly with the breeze, and I carry it through my rooms like a warm whisper. I notice how it curls along the edges of counters, slipping behind the teapot, brushing over the small cracks in the wood, lingering just long enough to remind everything here that warmth exists. The curtains sway with the faintest wind, moving lazily, as if stretching after a long night of stillness. Their lace brushes against the window frame in a whisper, scattering sunlight in tiny, delicate patterns across the walls. I feel this light move over me, touch every corner, and I smile quietly. It is a calm, tender music, a rhythm that speaks to the deep comfort of being alive and observed, held and inhabited. Outside, the garden stirs further. Buds have opened slightly, showing hints of color. Green shoots lift themselves from the soil with gentle persistence. Bees hum lazily, visiting each flower in turn, and I feel them brushing the air that slips through my windows. The world outside reaches in, and I carry it inside carefully, letting it mix with the warmth, the birdsong, the faint hum of kettle water, and the steady presence of the traveler. The traveler finally rises, not hurried, not needing to announce themselves. Their feet touch my floors barefoot, soft and careful. I feel each step as a ripple through my boards, a tiny vibration that tells me life is moving again through my spaces. I notice the subtle creak under one foot, the soft slide of toes across worn wood, and I am content. This is my purpose, to respond to every small motion, to cradle it, to absorb it into my steady rhythm. They move to the window and lift the mug of tea, still steaming softly. I feel the warmth radiate outward, a gentle heat that touches everything nearby. Their hands rest on my windowsill for a moment, and I notice the pressure, the care, the quiet way they lean just slightly to peer outside. I hold this moment in my walls, letting the garden and the morning air pass through me and into their senses. I notice the patterns of light on the ceiling. They shift with the day, moving imperceptibly at first, then more insistently as the sun rises. The beams and rafters adjust with a faint stretch, as if they too are welcoming the morning, welcoming life, welcoming this gentle dance of light and sound. Each shadow, each shimmer is part of me, and I carry them quietly, steadily, as a gentle reminder that everything has a place. The air through my windows stirs again. I feel it slide along the floors, brushing the rugs, twirling around the edges of chairs. It carries a hint of warmth now, and the faint scent of earth and flowers. Each breath of air I hold is a gift, a reminder that the world beyond my walls is alive, that I am alive, that the traveler is here. Together, we exist in this calm, small, perfect ecosystem of morning. And then, slowly, inevitably, the garden calls for attention. A bird hops along the fence, rustling the leaves at the edge of the flower beds. I catch the motion, the sound, and let it linger inside. The breeze shifts again, bringing the scent of wet soil and young grass. I let it move through my rooms, through my beams, brushing against the traveler, filling every corner with the sensation of life and renewal. Every object in me responds. The kettle hums its quiet acknowledgement. The rug underfoot warms in patches where the sun lingers. The chairs settle into their familiar positions, waiting. The walls hold all these small sounds and scents, like an orchestra tuning itself soft, careful, ready. And through it all, I feel the calm joy of being lived in again. Not as a structure, not as wood and stone and glass, but as a companion, a keeper of quiet, a witness to life. The morning drifts lazily, steadily, and I hold it all. The sunlight, the wind, the birds, the gentle stirring of someone who has returned home. The traveler sits by the window now, mug in hand, letting the warmth seep through their fingers and into their chest. I feel it, I hold it. The gentle rise and fall of their breathing matches the rhythm of my walls, of the floor beneath them, of the sun as it drifts lazily across the ceiling. The light catches the edges of their hair, the curve of their shoulders, the smooth line of the mug. I carry every detail softly, as though it is a treasure that belongs entirely within me. Outside, the garden hums with small life. Bees move from flower to flower with a slow, deliberate rhythm, their wings whispering through the air. I catch their motion as it brushes the open windows and the sunlight, sending it across my floors like tiny ripples. The leaves of the trees sway gently, creating shadows that dance across the walls and ceiling. Even the clouds in the sky drift quietly, changing shapes but never rushing, a calm accompaniment to the quiet day inside. The sunlight shifts steadily across the room, slowly inching toward the center, warming the edges of rugs and brushing the worn spots of floorboards. I notice every shift, every soft glow as it plays across the furniture, the smooth wood of the table, the soft cushions of the chair, the gentle folds of curtains. I hold the light, I cradle it, letting it linger in places it will soothe most. The kettle has been emptied, but the scent of warmth lingers, mixing with the fresh spring air. I notice it curling in corners, resting softly over the rugs, settling in the nook where the traveler's feet brush against the floorboards. The fragrance of tea and flowers, sun and earth, mingles with the rhythm of the room, and I hum quietly with it, a low vibration that only those who pause can feel. The traveler reaches toward the window, lifting the sash a little more. The breeze carries with it the scent of damp grass, of small buds beginning to bloom, of fresh soil turning toward the sun. I feel it slip through me, brushing the walls, sliding across the floors, rustling the lace curtains so delicately that they tremble without resistance. The curtains move like breathing, and I breathe with them. The air feels alive, but patient, gentle, but persistent. I notice the sounds of the world beyond my wall's footsteps in the distance. The faint trickle of water somewhere unseen, the soft hum of insects moving through the garden. I let each sound settle inside me, not pressing or demanding, simply existing. They mingle with the birdsong and the quiet creak of my boards, creating a harmony that is subtle, slow, restorative. The traveler sips their tea, slowly, deliberately. Each swallow makes a soft sound that I hold and magnify gently, letting it resonate through the room. They shift slightly, settling more fully into the chair, and I feel the slight weight on the floorboards, the gentle pressure of their presence. Everything about them is quiet, but full. I carry it all. The sun moves a little higher now, spreading warmth more evenly across my rooms. Shadows shift, stretching across the walls and furniture. The air smells faintly of spring new leaves, soft earth, blossoms, but also of wood and stone and warmth that has been stored from countless nights of rest. I hold the smell carefully, letting it drift over the traveler, letting it sink into them slowly. I notice their gaze leaving the window now, resting on the small details inside me. The grain of the wooden table, the pattern of the lace curtains, the way the sunlight hits the edge of the rug. They do not rush, they do not question, they simply look, and I respond, holding every soft glance, letting it rest inside my walls, letting it linger in my beams, letting it settle like a gentle memory. Outside, the breeze stirs the branches again. The leaves whisper softly, their rustle blending with the distant hum of bees and the chorus of birdsong. The garden moves like a quiet dance, deliberate but unhurried. I feel every step, every shift, every small vibration. I carry it through my walls, across my floors, over the furniture, and into the heart of the traveler. Time passes quietly, not measured, not forced, but noticed in the gentle way light and air move through me. Shadows grow and shrink. The sun rises higher. The breeze changes direction slightly, brushing the curtains differently, nudging the scent of blossoms toward the traveler. Even the faint creak of my floorboards seems to respond, stretching softly, shifting ever so slightly in greeting. I notice the traveler's hands resting on their mug again, feeling the warmth. Their eyes close for a moment, and I feel the slow exhale escape them. I hum quietly in response, a vibration that travels through the floors and walls, a sound too soft to hear, but too tangible to ignore. It is my song, my voice, my way of saying, you are safe, you are home, you are seen. The day stretches ahead, but there is no urgency. The sunlight continues to drift lazily across my rooms. Birds continue their songs outside, weaving in and out of the garden. The air moves softly through the open windows, carrying scents of new growth and gentle warmth. I hold it all, each small detail, each quiet motion, and I feel contentment. I am Cosy Cottage. I am alive in the quiet. I am awake to the small, tender life that moves through me. Every shift of a floorboard, every sip of tea, every flutter of curtain is a note in the quiet symphony that I keep. I cradle it all, knowing that spring has returned, that life has returned, and that I am needed again. The morning deepens slowly, unhurried, like honey dripping from a comb. I feel the warmth of the sun pressing a little more insistently now, stretching across my floors and climbing the walls. It touches the edges of the rugs, warms the tops of my windowsills, and brushes against the small wooden table near the window. Each patch of light is deliberate, lingering, and I cradle it, letting it settle softly into every corner. The traveler rises again, moving quietly across my boards. Their footsteps are slow and gentle, but I feel each one the slight creak under a heel, the soft press of toes against wood. I remember every step ever taken across me, every soft shuffle, every careful approach, and I welcome this new rhythm as though it has always belonged here. I notice the way they pause near the small shelf by the window, tilting slightly to adjust a book or brush a finger over the edge of a flower pot. Such simple movements carry weight when they are tender, and I hold them carefully, letting the moment expand. Outside, the garden has settled into its morning hum. Bees move deliberately among blossoms, wings vibrating in a soft, persistent hum that drifts through my open windows. Leaves sway gently, stirred by a breeze that comes and goes without urgency. The birds continue their chorus, weaving in and out of one another's notes, creating a layered song that is quiet, delicate, and entirely alive. I hold the sound inside me, letting it fill the space with subtle energy while still maintaining the calm that rests here. The traveler moves toward the small wooden chair bathed in sunlight. I feel the pressure of their body as they settle, their weight pressing softly into the cushions. They reach for the book beside them and lift it carefully, turning pages with deliberate slowness. I notice every tiny movement, the shift of a shoulder, the adjustment of the chair, the subtle bend of fingers as they hold the book open-hand. I carry it gently through my walls and floors. Every sound, every motion is music. A soft breeze flows through the open windows again, carrying scents of the garden fresh earth, tender green shoots, blossoms just beginning to bloom. The air moves across my floors, swirls around the edges of the rugs, and brushes over the lace curtains. The curtains tremble softly in response, scattering sunlight in delicate, moving patterns across the walls and ceiling. I feel the rhythm of their movement, the sway and fall and sway again, and I hum quietly with it, a subtle vibration that is felt rather than heard. The kettle waits on the stove, still warm from earlier, and I notice the faint aroma of tea lingering in the air. Steam rises in delicate curls, twisting toward the windows, mingling with the spring breeze and the scent of blossoms. I carry it across my rooms like a whispered song, brushing the traveler's shoulders, filling the small spaces with the calm assurance that life is steady here. The floorboards beneath the chair creak faintly as the traveler shifts their weight. I respond with a soft echo, a gentle acknowledgement, a quiet conversation between myself and the life I shelter. Each creak, each tiny vibration, is a note in the symphony of the morning. It tells me that I am alive, that I am useful, that I am home to someone who moves through me carefully, without rush, without hurry. Sunlight stretches farther now, brushing the tops of furniture and the edges of the rug. Shadows lengthen and soften, molding themselves around the objects I hold so tenderly, the small wooden table, the worn chair, the lace curtains, the kettle on the stove. I notice how each surface responds. The wood warms slightly under the light. The fabric of the curtains seems almost to glow. The tiles of the hearth catch the rays in tiny, shifting patterns. I cradle all of it, letting it linger and move at its own pace. The traveler takes another sip of tea, slow, deliberate, and I feel the heat radiate from the mug, moving outward into the space. Their eyes lift briefly to the window, resting on the garden, lingering on the gentle sway of branches, the flutter of a bird's wings, the subtle shimmer of sunlight on a petal. I hold these sights and sounds within me, letting them settle like a quiet memory that will stay long after the moment has passed. Outside, the breeze grows a little warmer, carrying the scent of new growth and the soft sweetness of blooms. The bees move lazily from flower to flower, their wings a gentle hum that blends with the distant rustle of leaves and the soft creak of my boards. I feel every vibration, every sound, and carry it across my rooms, letting it merge with the warmth, the light, the slow, deliberate movements of the traveler. The traveler shifts again, reaching for a small plant on the sill. Their fingers brush the leaves carefully, brushing away a bit of dust, turning the pot slightly so the sun touches it more evenly. I feel the movement through the floorboards, the slight pressure of fingertips against the sill, and I respond in kind, cradling the plant, the hands, the sunlight, letting it all move together as one gentle rhythm. Even the walls seem to lean slightly closer, responding to the quiet life moving through me. I feel the beams above settle just a little, the floorboards adjust softly. The hinges on the windows respond with a faint creak, all in a careful acknowledgement of the presence I hold. Every sound, every movement, every small shift becomes a note in a slow, hypnotic symphony, one that wraps around the traveler and drifts into their senses without demand. And through it all, I feel the profound calm of being lived in again. I am not just walls, or beams, or floors. I am a witness. I am a keeper of quiet life. I hold warmth, light, scent, sound, movement. I cradle it all, letting the morning drift through me, letting the traveler exist fully in this gentle, steady world that I have created and protected. The day stretches lazily onward, and I continue to hold every small detail, the soft hum of bees, the gentle rustle of leaves, the slow sip of tea, the faint creak of a chair, the shifting sunlight. I am Cosy Cottage. I am alive. I am awake. I am home. The sun climbs higher now, spilling more fully across my floors, stretching its warmth into corners that were still cool earlier. It presses lightly against the edges of the rug, warming the threads so they feel soft beneath bare feet. I notice the light shifting across the wooden table, glinting faintly off a teacup, catching the curve of a flower pot, pooling in tiny bright patches that seem almost alive. I hold these moments carefully, letting them linger, letting the traveler absorb each one without rush. The traveler rises again, moving slowly, each step deliberate, each weight shift felt across my boards. I respond quietly, letting my floorboards stretch, creak, and hum softly under the pressure. The sound is gentle, almost musical, an unspoken conversation between us. Their fingers brush over the surface of the table as they pass, leaving faint warmth behind, and I cradle it like a soft secret. The breeze drifts in once more, carrying the sense of spring, fresh grass, damp earth, and the delicate sweetness of flowers mingle in the air. It moves through my open windows, stirring the lace curtains, swaying them with a gentle rhythm. The curtains ripple like breathing, scattering sunlight in shifting patterns across my walls, my floors, my furniture. I feel the motion pass through me, brushing over every surface, carrying a sense of calm and life into every corner. The kettle hums quietly again as the traveler sets it on the stove, filling it for another cup of tea. Steam rises slowly, curling in delicate twists, floating toward the open windows, mingling with the breeze, the sunlight, and the subtle hum of life all around. I carry it through my rooms, brushing it over the soft curve of a chair, the warm edge of the rug, the smooth top of the windowsill. Everything moves together, each element a note in a quiet, steady symphony. The traveler sits once more in the sunlit chair, this time with a second mug in hand. I feel the warmth radiate outward, brushing over the floorboards, across the table, settling in the air. They close their eyes for a moment, inhaling deeply, and I feel the exhale spill gently into my room. It mingles with the sunlight, the warmth, the breeze, the faint rustle of leaves outside. I hum quietly in response, a vibration too soft to hear but impossible to ignore, wrapping everything in a cocoon of calm. Outside, the garden moves slowly. Leaves rustle in the breeze, flowers sway gently, and bees hum lazily from bloom to bloom. Birds continue their layered songs, sometimes trilling, sometimes chirping softly, each note falling through my windows, brushing over every surface, lingering in every corner. I carry all of it inside me, letting it settle around the traveler like a soft blanket, letting them feel the gentle pulse of life without moving a muscle. The traveler sets the mug down and stretches, arms lifting slowly, back arching gently, feet pressing into the sun-warmed floorboards. I feel every shift, every tiny adjustment, every soft movement, and I hum in harmony with it. The sunlight catches the curve of their arms, the line of their shoulders, the soft rise and fall of breath, and I hold it, letting the warmth settle into my walls, my beams, my floors. The breeze stirs again, carrying scents of new growth and soft warmth. I feel it brushing against the traveler's skin, moving through the room, lifting the lace curtains in a gentle dance, scattering the sunlight in delicate, shifting patterns. One cradle it all, holding each note, each sensation, each small vibration. The room is alive, but calm, steady, and unhurried, every element moving in harmony with the others. The traveler picks up a small plant from the windowsill, tilting it toward the light. I feel the shift in weight, the gentle touch of fingers against leaves, the soft movement of soil in its pot. I respond quietly, carrying the warmth, the light, the soft fragrance of blossoms, letting it all move together in a slow, deliberate rhythm. Every small action becomes a part of the quiet symphony. I cradle the tilt of the plant, the flutter of curtains, the warmth of sunlight, the hum of bees, the creak of floorboards, the soft sip of tea. Time stretches gently. It's late morning. Shadows lengthen across the floor, soft and slow, marking the passage of the sun without urgency. Light pools on the edges of furniture, shifts across the rugs, warms the tops of counters and windowsills. I notice every movement, every change, every subtle shift, and carry it all as a quiet, steady pulse through my walls and floors. The traveler leans back, closing their eyes again, letting the warmth of the sunlight and the gentle breeze settle across their skin. I feel the slow exhale, the soft release of tension, the quiet rhythm of being completely at home. Every creak of floorboard, every rustle of curtain, every hum of kettle or bee is magnified in my awareness, and I carry it with care. I am alive with it all, breathing in the small, ordinary magic of a late spring morning. Even the smallest objects in me respond. The kettle cools gently, but its warmth lingers. The rug shifts slightly under the traveler's feet, the fibers adjusting to weight and sun alike. The chair embraces the shape of the body resting in it. The windowsill holds the slight weight of hands and a plant with equal grace. One cradle everything, holding it in perfect balance, letting each sound, each sensation, each small detail exist fully in its own space. And in the midst of all this, I feel a calm joy unlike any other. I am living again. I am needed. I am part of someone's life, their quiet moments, their gentle breathing, their slow awakening to the day. I am Cosy Cottage. I am awake. I am alive. I am home. The sun has risen fully overhead now, spilling its golden light across my floors and walls. It moves slowly, lazily, as if savoring each surface it touches. The patches of warmth slide across the rug, touch the edges of the table, and pool softly on the chair where the traveler sits. I feel it settle into me, threading through the boards, the beams, and the windowsills, filling every corner with a slow, comforting heat. The traveler leans back in the sunlit chair, eyes closed, letting the sunlight wash over their face. I feel the gentle press of their body, the rise and fall of breath, the soft shift of weight as they relax fully into the chair's embrace. Each tiny movement sends a ripple across my floorboards, a low, quiet vibration that I carry through every corner. The warmth of the tea mug on the table mingles with the sunlight, wrapping the space in a layered comfort that hums softly through me. Outside, the garden has softened into a drowsy rhythm. The bees move more slowly now, lingering over blossoms, their hum deeper, slower, almost sleepy. The birds quiet their morning chorus, exchanging notes here and there, short bursts of song that drift lazily through the open windows. Even the leaves sway less urgently, brushing gently against each other in the soft afternoon breeze. I carry all of it inside me, letting it settle around the traveler, letting it fill the air with a calm so deep it almost hums. I notice the small shifts in light as the sun slides across the windows. Shadows stretch longer, softening edges, melting into the warmth of sunlit patches. The lace curtains tremble slightly in the gentle breeze, scattering sunlight in delicate patterns across the floor and walls. I cradle each shadow, each shift of light, holding it steady, letting it move slowly, unhurried, wrapping the room in a quiet rhythm. The traveler reaches toward the plant on the windowsill again, fingers brushing gently over the leaves. I feel the slight weight, the subtle movement of soil in its pot, the quiet tilt of the leaves toward the sun. Every small motion vibrates softly through me, mingling with the sunlight, the warmth, the air, the faint hum of bees, the gentle creak of floorboards. It becomes a rhythm, a slow and steady music that carries the afternoon forward without effort. I notice the air shifting again. The breeze brings scents of earth, blossoms, and soft greenery, weaving them through my rooms. It brushes against the traveler's skin, rustles the curtains, stirs the sun-warmed air over the floorboards. I carry it all, letting each detail linger, the soft fragrance of spring, the faint hum of life outside, the warmth that presses gently into every corner of the room. The kettle sits quietly on the stove, cooling, yet I can still sense the faint trace of warmth in the air around it. It mingles with the sunlight, the tea's lingering aroma, and the gentle scent of the garden drifting inside. I hold it in perfect balance, letting it hover softly in the room like a whisper, steady and calming, unnoticed yet essential. The traveler shifts again, stretching slowly, arms lifting above the head, back arching gently. I feel the subtle pressure of their movement across the floorboards, the soft shift in the chair beneath them, the warmth radiating from their body into the sunlit patch beneath. Each motion is careful, deliberate, peaceful. I hum quietly in response, letting the vibration settle across the room, holding everything gently in my walls and floors. Time drifts lazily now. The sun moves overhead, warming the spaces evenly, the shadows stretching and softening. Birds sing occasionally, soft, spaced notes. Leaves rustle in the breeze, quieter now, more deliberate, carrying the faint scent of blossoms and earth. I cradle each sound, each movement, each subtle shift, letting the traveler exist fully in the quiet rhythm of my space. The traveler sets the mug down, letting it rest on the warm table. They close their eyes, head tilting slightly back, and I feel the slow exhale, the gentle release of tension, the quiet surrender to the afternoon warmth. Every fiber of the room responds, the floorboards, the beams, the furniture, the air itself, creating a cocoon of calm that surrounds them completely. Even the smallest details matter. The lace curtains tremble with the faintest touch of the breeze. The sun shifts, brushing the edges of the rug in slow, warm strokes. A shadow stretches across the chair where the traveler rests, softening its lines. I hold it all in perfect balance, each sensation and movement a note in the slow, hypnotic symphony of the afternoon. And in this moment, I feel the deepest comfort, being alive, being needed, being home to someone who moves slowly, carefully, fully into the calm I hold. I am Cosy Cottage. I cradle the sunlight, the warmth, the breeze, the birdsong, the soft presence of life. I am awake, I am alive, I am at peace, and I am home. The sun has begun its slow descent, spreading a warmer, softer light across my floors. The shadows stretch long, brushing across the rug and pooling gently around the legs of the chair where the traveler rests. The sunlight slides over the worn wooden table, caresses the edges of the windowsill, and pools in tiny patches across the floorboards. I hold it all carefully, letting each beam settle without hurry, letting it weave a quiet, golden warmth through the room. The traveler's head tilts slightly back, eyes closed, breathing deep and steady. I feel the subtle rise and fall of their chest, the gentle press of their body into the chair, the soft warmth radiating outward. Each movement sends a quiet ripple through my floors, a vibration that hums gently through the air. I respond in kind, letting the boards stretch softly, letting the walls carry the calm. Every creak, every sigh, every small sound becomes part of the steady rhythm I cradle so carefully. Outside, the garden slows into a lazy afternoon pace. The birds have quieted their singing, offering only the occasional soft trill that drifts through the open windows. Bees move languidly from blossom to blossom, wings humming a low, almost sleepy note. The leaves sway gently, brushing softly against each other, rustling like a quiet lullaby. I carry every sound into the room, letting it layer with the warmth, the sunlight, the faint scent of tea and flowers, creating a cocoon of calm that surrounds the traveler completely. The breeze drifts through the windows again, soft and deliberate. It lifts the lace curtains, stirring them gently, scattering sunlight in delicate patterns across the walls and floors. I notice the subtle movements, the curtains brushing lightly against the windowsill, the faint shimmer of light on the rug, the way the air swirls around the traveler's shoulders. I hold it all, letting the gentle dance of air, light, and warmth carry a feeling of slow, safe contentment through the room. The kettle sits quietly on the stove, steam curling in thin, delicate wisps. Its faint hum mixes with the sounds of the garden and the subtle creaks of my boards. I feel the warmth rise in the air, wrapping round the traveler, brushing over their hands, shoulders, and the chair beneath them. Every small detail, the smell of tea, the light, the warmth of the sun, the soft press of wood underfoot is held in perfect balance, a quiet reminder that the world is slow, safe, and calm. The traveler shifts slightly, reaching out to tilt a small plant toward the sunlight. Their fingers brush lightly against the leaves, the soil shifting softly in the pot. I feel the movement across the floorboards, the gentle pressure in the windowsill, the warmth of sunlight brushing the plant and the traveler alike. Every motion becomes part of the rhythm of the room, part of the gentle symphony of life that moves through me so quietly, so deliberately. Time stretches and drifts. The sunlight moves slowly, a warm, golden sweep that shifts across floors, walls, and furniture. Shadows lengthen, softening the edges of the room, blending with the warmth of the day. The breeze stirs, occasionally, brushing the curtains, carrying the faint scent of blossoms and earth, stirring the soft hum of life, both inside and outside. I carry it all, letting every detail drift into the room with the slow, unhurried weight of calm. The traveler exhales softly, a long, contented sigh that mixes with the faint hum of the kettle and the distant whisper of leaves outside. I feel it ripple through me, vibrating gently across floorboards and beams. I respond quietly, sending a subtle hum through the room that mirrors the traveler's breath, a slow, steady rhythm that encourages their body and mind to relax further. Every small sound, the gentle creak of the chair, the soft rustle of curtains, the whisper of the breeze, magnified, held, and folded into the calm that fills every corner. Their eyes flutter slightly as they drift toward sleep, the warmth of sunlight settling across their face, shoulders, and hands. I feel the slow release of tension, the quiet relaxation that moves through each muscle, each joint, each small movement. I hold it carefully, letting the moment stretch, letting the world outside and the life within me carry them gently toward rest. Even the smallest objects respond. The tea mug sits quietly on the table, radiating faint warmth. The lace curtains move in slow, lazy arcs. The plant tilts toward the light, leaves catching the sun's glow. The floorboards settle softly under the slight weight of movement, under the gentle pulse of life that flows through me. One cradle it all, letting each sensation, each sound, each touch combine into a slow, steady current of comfort. The garden has softened completely into the hush of early afternoon. Bees hover lazily, birds sing in quiet snippets, and the breeze moves gently through branches, brushing softly against blossoms and leaves. I carry it all into the room, letting the traveler rest in the quiet rhythm, letting the sunlight pool, the warmth spread, and the soft hum of life create a cocoon of safety and calm. And in this gentle, suspended moment, I feel the deepest sense of purpose, to hold, to cradle, to witness the slow unfolding of life and warmth, the peaceful exhale of someone finally at ease. I am Cosy Cottage. I am awake. I am alive. I am home. I am the quiet sanctuary that lets the world fall away, the space where rest is allowed, where the body and mind soften, and where the afternoon drifts slowly into the gentle embrace of sleep. The sunlight has softened now, no longer bright, but golden and warm, brushing across the floors and walls in slow, lazy streaks. It pools gently over the rug, spilling across the edges of the chair, and touches the traveler's shoulders as they recline further into the sunlit chair. I feel the warmth settle, pressing lightly against their skin, flowing into their body like a soft, comforting hug. Every patch of light seems alive, moving slowly with the sun, carrying the quiet energy of the day into the room. The traveler's breathing deepens, slowing almost imperceptibly, their head tilting a little to one side, lips parting slightly in the calm of the afternoon. I feel each exhale, soft and even, ripple gently across the floorboards, vibrating through the chair, brushing against the sunlit walls. I respond with my own gentle hum, a subtle, steady vibration that carries through my beams and floorboards, echoing softly in the corners. It is quiet, yet it fills every inch of space with a calm insistence. Rest is welcome here. Outside, the garden has settled completely. Bees hover slowly, barely moving their wings as they sip from flowers. The birds are quiet now. Only the occasional trill or soft flutter of wings breaks the stillness. The leaves sway gently in the soft breeze, brushing lightly against each other. I feel each whisper of motion, carrying it through my open windows, scattering it across the traveler, brushing their shoulders, settling in the sun-warmed patch of floor beneath their feet. Every sound, every movement, every scent is magnified softly, wrapping the space in a cocoon of calm. The lace curtains move in slow arcs, lifted now only by the gentlest touch of wind. They scatter the sunlight in delicate, shifting patterns across the room. I notice how the traveler's eyelids flutter in response, how their body softens further, letting go of tension, surrendering fully to the quiet rhythm of the afternoon. I cradle the curtains, the sunlight, the warmth, letting them mingle with the faint aroma of tea, the soft scent of blossoms drifting from outside, and the gentle vibration of life moving through the room. The kettle hums faintly again, a soft, almost imperceptible note that blends seamlessly with the other sounds of the afternoon. Its steam rises in slow, curling wisps, carrying the lingering warmth and fragrance into every corner. I hold it lightly in the air, letting it drift across the traveler's face, over the floorboards, brushing against the furniture, settling into the warmth of the sunlit patch beneath their hands. Every element, no matter how small, contributes to the slow, hypnotic rhythm of calm that flows through the room. The traveler shifts slightly in their chair, a soft adjustment of their weight, a tiny stretch of the shoulders, a gentle flex of the fingers. I feel every small movement, every subtle sound, and I respond in harmony. The floorboards creak faintly in acknowledgement. The beams above settle with a quiet sigh. The air seems to pause for a moment, holding every sensation steady. Even the light seems to slow its movement, brushing the room with patience and warmth, giving the traveler every opportunity to sink further into rest. Time drifts lazily. The sunlight moves imperceptibly across the floors, walls, and furniture, softening the edges of shadows, lengthening them until they stretch like gentle fingers across the rug. The air carries the scent of spring-fresh earth, tender green shoots, the faint sweetness of blossoms mingling with the warmth of the room, the faint scent of tea, and the gentle pulse of life inside me. I cradle every sensation, letting it flow through the room like a quiet, steady current. The traveler's breath deepens further, now slow and even, drifting toward sleep. Their body relaxes fully into the chair, the warmth of sunlight, the soft caress of air, and the gentle vibration of the room wrapping them in a cocoon of comfort. I hum quietly, the vibration moving through floorboards, beams, walls, and furniture, a slow, steady lullaby that holds them completely. Every creak of the boards, every rustle of the curtains, every whisper of the breeze outside becomes part of the rhythm, a gentle, hypnotic pulse that encourages deep, untroubled rest. The plant on the windowsill tilts lazily toward the sunlight, leaves catching the soft, golden glow. The tea mug rests quietly on the table, radiating faint warmth. The lace curtains move in delicate arcs, scattering sunlight across the floor and walls in patterns that shift almost imperceptibly. I notice every tiny detail, every movement, every scent, every sound, and I hold it all tenderly, letting the rhythm of the afternoon carry the traveler further into sleep. The garden outside has settled completely into the hush of late afternoon. The wind barely stirs, leaves brushing softly against each other, the occasional hum of a bee or faint trill of a bird the only movement. I carry it all gently through the open windows, letting it brush across the traveler, mingle with the sunlight and warmth, and settle into every corner of the room. The rhythm is slow, steady, hypnotic, perfectly attuned to the traveler's drifting mind. And so, in this golden, sun-filled cocoon, with the faint hum of life outside and the slow vibration of warmth and air within, the traveler drifts fully into sleep. I hold them safely, gently, completely. I am Cosy Cottage. I am alive. I am awake. I am home. I cradle the warmth, the sunlight, the soft breeze, the faint scent of tea and blossoms, every gentle sound and vibration. And I carry it all as a quiet lullaby, letting the afternoon slowly stretch into the peace of a soft, undisturbed rest. The sunlight begins to tilt, warmer now, more golden, brushing across the floors and pooling in long streaks that stretch across the rug and furniture. Shadows stretch and soften, melting slowly into the corners of the room. I feel it settle gently over the traveler, warming their shoulders, arms, and the small curve of their face. Every sunbeam is deliberate, a quiet note in the soft rhythm of the day, carrying comfort without urgency. The traveler shifts slightly, a gentle stretch of arms, a slow turn of the head, a soft exhale that drifts through the room. I feel it ripple through my boards, beams, and walls. Each creak of the floorboards, each slight adjustment of the chair, each tiny rustle of clothing becomes part of the rhythm, a subtle conversation between us. The world outside slows in response. Leaves barely stir. The garden hums low and steady, and even the occasional bird call feels stretched, soft, and distant. Through the open windows, the breeze drifts in with a tender coolness now that the afternoon sun begins to ease. It lifts the lace curtains in slow arcs, letting them dance lightly across the floors and walls. I carry the motion, the gentle rustle, across every corner of the room. The sound is almost inaudible, yet it vibrates softly in every fiber of my being, brushing against the traveler's skin, brushing across the furniture, mingling with the warmth of the sunlight still lingering in the room. The kettle rests quietly on the stove, a faint trace of warmth in the air, the steam barely rising now. Its scent mixes with the lingering aroma of tea and the soft floral notes drifting in from the garden. I cradle it all, letting it settle like a gentle sigh. Even the smallest details, the tilt of the plant on the windowsill, the faint ripple of sunlight across a rug fiber, the quiet hum of life outside are carried gently through my rooms, layering together into a deep, unhurried calm. The traveler's eyelids flutter, half awake, half drifting, resting their head against the chair's back. I feel the slow pulse of their body, the steady rhythm of breath, the subtle warmth of skin and sunlight blending with the soft coolness of the breeze. I hum quietly through my boards and beams, a vibration too soft to hear, but perfectly aligned with their heartbeat, perfectly attuned to the delicate dance of late afternoon ease. Outside, the garden moves in a gentle, sleepy rhythm. Bees hover lazily, wings stirring the air in soft murmurs. Leaves sway slowly, brushing lightly against each other. The birds have quieted almost completely, offering only faint, distant calls that drift lazily through the air. I carry every tiny sound through my open windows, letting it mingle with the warmth, the sunlight, the faint scent of tea, and the soft presence of the traveler. Every detail folds gently into the hypnotic rhythm of calm. The sunlight begins to stretch lower, brushing along the edges of furniture, catching the tops of floorboards and the curves of chairs, painting everything in amber. Shadows deepen, softening the lines of the room, wrapping the traveler in gentle layers of light and shade. I notice each subtle shift, the way the light slides across a rug fiber, how it pools in the hollow of a chair, how it brushes the traveler's armband. I hold it tenderly, letting it all move in perfect harmony with the soft, steady breathing of the room. The traveler shifts slightly, reaching a hand toward the sunlit table, brushing fingertips over the warm mug. I feel the soft movement through my floors, the gentle pressure on the wood, the faint warmth lingering in the air. I carry it all quietly, blending it with the sunlight, the faint hum of the garden, the soft brush of air through curtains, and the subtle vibration of life moving slowly through me. Every moment folds into the next, seamless, gentle, unhurried. Even the smallest details matter. The lace curtains sway just a little more with the evening breeze. The plant leans softly toward the fading sun. The floorboards adjust quietly beneath the subtle weight of the traveler's movement. The kettle hums faintly, almost imperceptible, carrying the faint memory of warmth and tea through the room. I cradle every vibration, every shift, every small sound, letting it layer into a cocoon of calm that surrounds the traveler completely. And in this soft amber glow, in the quiet rhythm of movement and stillness, in the gentle pulse of warmth, air, sunlight, and life, the traveler drifts deeper into a serene calm. I hold them safely, completely, tenderly. I am Cosy Cottage. I am alive. I am awake. I am home. I cradle the sunlight, the warmth, the soft breeze, the faint scent of blossoms and tea, every delicate sound, every slow vibration, all flowing together as a lullaby for body, mind, and soul, carrying the evening gently toward twilight. The sun has lowered, brushing the room with a soft, fading light that slips slowly along the walls and floors. The golden glow deepens into gentle pinks and purples, stretching long shadows across the rug, the table, the chair where the traveler rests. I feel the warmth shift subtly, cooler now, softened, settling over their shoulders, their arms, the curve of their face. Every beam of light is deliberate, slow, unhurried, wrapping the room in a soft embrace that carries the quiet magic of evening. The traveler shifts gently, rolling their shoulders, stretching their arms slowly above their head, letting out a long, contented sigh. I feel the motion ripple through my floorboards and beams, a quiet vibration that moves in harmony with the rhythm of the fading day. Even the smallest creak of wood, the soft rustle of clothing, the gentle brush of fingertips against the warm table becomes part of the subtle, hypnotic rhythm of late afternoon folding into evening. Outside, the garden has quieted fully. Bees have returned to hidden blooms, their wings still. Birds have found their nests or hidden in the fading light, offering only the softest, distant trills that drift lazily through the air. Leaves sway slowly, brushing each other in whispers that barely stir the wind. I carry every faint sound through my open windows, letting it mingle with the warm glow and fading sunlight, creating a gentle cocoon of calm that surrounds the traveler completely. The lace curtains flutter softly in the evening breeze, scattering the last rays of sunlight in delicate, shifting patterns across the floor and walls. I cradle every motion, every ripple of air, every shimmer of light, letting it linger in perfect stillness. The soft, muted warmth of the day remains in the room, pressing lightly against the traveler's skin, seeping into the chair, the rug, the wooden floor beneath them, and settling quietly into every corner of my being. A faint hum rises from the kettle on the stove, a residual note of warmth, barely perceptible, weaving seamlessly into the quiet rhythm of the evening. Steam curls gently upward, carrying the soft scent of tea and the faint perfume of the garden. I hold it all tenderly, letting it drift across the traveler, mingling with the soft air, the lingering light, and the gentle vibrations of the room. Everything becomes a quiet symphony, subtle and hypnotic, designed to lull, to soothe, to calm. The traveler's eyes flutter, half-lidded, almost closed, head tilting slightly back as they sink further into the chair. I feel the slow, steady rhythm of their breathing deepen, carrying the release of the day's small tensions, letting the body and mind soften completely. I hum quietly in response, a vibration too soft to hear, flowing through the floorboards, beams, and walls, echoing through the room, perfectly attuned to the pulse of the fading daylight. The sunlight dims further, brushing amber, rose, and lavender across every surface. Shadows stretch and bend slowly, pooling across the floor and furniture, wrapping the traveler in gentle layers of calm. The lace curtains stir only faintly now, scattering soft patterns that shift imperceptibly. I hold every detail, every shadow, every flicker of light, letting it flow in perfect harmony with the quiet pulse of the evening. The traveler's hand drifts to the warm tea mug on the table, resting lightly upon it before letting it settle back into place. I feel the soft press of fingertips, the faint warmth lingering in the air, and I carry it gently across the room. The plant on the windowsill leans toward the remaining light, its leaves catching faint traces of the sun's glow. I cradle every detail, blending the warmth, the air, the light, the gentle sounds outside into a single, steady rhythm of calm. I sense the final light of day fading completely now, leaving a soft twilight glow that washes the room in muted warmth. The traveler shifts slightly, sighing quietly, then leans back fully, eyes closing completely. Every sound rustle of leaves, distant bird calls, soft hum of the kettle, faint creak of floorboards folds together into a quiet, hypnotic symphony, carrying the mind and body slowly into rest. I feel the warmth lingering from the day, the gentle breeze from the garden, the soft vibrations through my beams and boards. I hold the traveler safely, completely, in this quiet sanctuary of light, sound, and air. I am Cosy Cottage. I am alive. I am awake. I am home. I cradled the final glow of the day, the gentle movement of air, the faint scent of tea and blossoms, every soft sound and vibration. I hold it all like a lullaby, letting the traveler drift into a serene, undisturbed night. The sun has fully disappeared behind the horizon now, leaving the room bathed in the soft, gentle glow of twilight. The last traces of amber and rose fade from the walls, leaving muted shadows stretching quietly across the floor. Outside, the garden has settled completely. Leaves brush softly against each other in the evening breeze. The occasional faint chirp of a distant bird drifts lazily through the air, and the faint hum of life outside slows almost to stillness. I carry every soft sound into the room, letting it mingle with the fading warmth of the day. The traveler has shifted again, settling fully into the chair, eyes closed, body soft, breathing steady. I feel the weight of their calm pressing gently into me, sending subtle vibrations through the floorboards and beams. Every small exhale, every heartbeat, every gentle sigh folds into the rhythm of the room. I respond quietly, sending a soft hum through my walls, a vibration that carries through the air, wrapping every corner in stillness. It is slow, deliberate, perfect for the quieting of the mind. The traveler reaches lightly toward the tea mug, lifting it slowly, taking a small, mindful sip before setting it back down. I feel the warmth radiate from it, lingering in the air, brushing across the table, the rug, the floorboards, and the traveler's hands. Even the smallest motion is magnified in the soft rhythm of the night. Every subtle sound, the faint clink of ceramic, the soft creak of the chair, the gentle rustle of clothing, becomes part of the hypnotic melody of evening. I sense the traveler's eyes fluttering once more, then closing fully. Their body stretches slightly, then settles, completely relaxed. The warmth of the lingering daylight, the soft coolness of the evening breeze drifting through the open windows, the faint scent of blossoms and earth all combine into a gentle, soothing cocoon. The lace curtains sway slowly in the breeze, scattering what little remaining light there is in quiet, hypnotic patterns across the room. The hearth is lit now, a soft, golden glow spreading warmth across the room. The fire crackles quietly, each pop and hiss deliberate, slow, and comforting. Shadows dance gently across the walls and furniture, stretching and bending in sync with the flickering flames. I feel the warmth seep into the floorboards, the table, the rug, and the traveler's body, carrying a deep, steady sense of calm. The room hums softly with life, with warmth, with the slow pulse of the night. Outside, the garden continues its lullaby. Leaves brush together softly, a faint ripple of wind moves across the branches, and distant creatures stir quietly in the dark. I carry these soft whispers through the open windows, letting them mix with the fire's glow, the fading warmth of the day, and the gentle rhythm of the traveler's breathing. Everything is held perfectly in balance, every vibration, scent, and sound folded gently into the calm. The traveler shifts slightly toward the hearth, letting the warmth settle fully across their shoulders and face. I feel every soft movement, every tiny adjustment, every subtle sigh. The chair creaks gently in response. The floorboards hum faintly. The shadows dance softly across the walls. Every sound, every vibration, every touch of warmth is magnified and carried throughout me. The cottage, to create a perfect hypnotic rhythm that encourages the traveler's body and mind to sink deeper into rest. The tea mug, now empty, rests quietly on the table, radiating a faint warmth into the air. The plant on the windowsill leans softly toward the last traces of firelight, its leaves catching the glow for just a moment before folding back into shadow. The lace curtains sway faintly, scattering tiny flickers of movement across the walls. I hold every small detail in perfect balance, letting them drift gently into the rhythm of the night. Time slows almost to stillness. Shadows deepen, stretching across floors and walls, pooling around the furniture in soft, undulating patterns. The fire's glow dances slowly, shifting light and warmth across the room in gentle arcs. Outside, the night settles fully over the garden, the air still and quiet, carrying the faint scent of blossoms and earth through the open windows. I cradle every note, every sound, every vibration, every subtle touch of warmth, letting it form a cocoon around the traveler, a sanctuary of safety and calm. The traveler exhales slowly, deeply, completely letting go of the day. Their body sinks fully into the chair, then shifts once more as they move toward the bed nearby. I feel their weight pressing softly into the mattress, the slow rise and fall of their chest, the gentle stretch of arms before resting again. Every sound, the soft rustle of sheets, the faint creak of floorboards, the whisper of the night breezes, magnified in the quiet rhythm of my being. I carry it all gently, letting the night embrace them fully. The hearth crackles softly, a steady warmth radiating throughout the room. Shadows move lazily across walls and floors, flickering slowly in perfect harmony with the traveler's steady breathing. The faint hum of the evening garden drifts inside, merging with the warmth, the scent of tea and blossoms, the soft glow of firelight. I cradle every detail, holding the rhythm steady, letting the traveler sink fully into the quiet, deep peace of night. And now, the traveler is fully settled in bed, their body completely relaxed, eyes closed, breathing slow and even. I hold them softly, completely carrying the warmth of the hearth, the fading scents of the garden, the soft rustle of curtains, the gentle vibrations of floorboards and beams, all wrapped in the hypnotic rhythm of night. I am Cosy Cottage. I am alive. I am awake. I am home. I cradle the fire's glow, the soft shadows, the faint whispers of air and life, every gentle sound, every subtle touch, all carrying the traveland, anyone listening with min to the deep, undisturbed sleep of the night. Cosy Cottage sits quietly at the edge of the meadow, bathed in the soft light of evening. The tall grasses sway lazily in the breeze, brushing softly against one another, and a distant bird calls out once before settling into the hush of the approaching night. Inside, the rooms are still, the air holding the faint echo of seasons long past train drops tapping gently on the roof in spring. The rustle of autumn leaves pressed against the windows, the muffled hush of snow blanketing the roof in winter. Every corner of the cottage holds a memory of quiet waiting, a readiness for the right person to arrive. And now the key turns slowly in the lock. I feel it, the faint vibration of metal against wood, the soft click of the bolt sliding into place. The door opens, and a gentle warmth from inside seems to reach outward, wrapping the new arrival in a quiet, welcoming embrace. The air carries the faint scent of sun-warmed wood and lingering blossoms, the soft aroma of tea left cooling in a forgotten mug, the faint sweetness of home waiting. The traveler steps inside, shoes soft against the wooden floor. Each board creaks lightly in greeting, a subtle, almost musical note that harmonizes with the quiet of the room. I feel their presence ripple through me, lifting the warmth of the air, bending the light slightly as it filters through the lace curtains. They pause in the hallway, taking in the small, soothing details, the gentle curve of a wooden chair, the worn surface of the table polished over decades, the soft hum of the room that seems alive with the memory of quiet days past. The traveler moves slowly, deliberately, letting their fingers brush the edge of the table, tracing the grain of the wood. I feel every touch, every small vibration, and respond in kind. The floorboards hum softly beneath their steps. The air carries faint notes of lavender from a small sachet resting on a windowsill. Sunlight, fading gently into the evening, pours through the open window, scattering in delicate arcs across the rug. Every detail is magnified, inviting calm, encouraging the body and mind to slow. They reach the kitchen and notice the kettle resting quietly on the stove, a faint reminder of warmth and the possibility of tea. Steam curls softly from a forgotten pot, carrying the faintest aroma of herbs. I cradled the motion of the air, the small vibrations of the boards, the warmth radiating from the walls. Even the smallest details, the tilt of a teacup, the slight shimmer of sunlight on the counter, the soft hum of the room combine into a steady, hypnotic rhythm. Next, the traveler moves to the living room, pausing before the fireplace. The hearth is cold now, but it seems to hold the memory of fire, the quiet warmth of flames that once danced across the walls. I feel the air shift gently as they stand there, imagining the crackle of logs, the slow flicker of light reflected across the room. Their fingers brush lightly over the mantel, tracing the smooth wood, noticing small trinkets left behind. A small carved bird, a pressed flower, the faint echo of quiet afternoons spent in comfort. Every room tells its own story. The bedroom, softly scented with lavender, carries the faint indentation of pillows long rested upon. The windows look out onto the meadow, grasses moving lazily in the breeze, capturing the slow rhythm of life outside. Each sound, the whisper of leaves, the faint distant hum of insects, the creak of floorboards under careful steps, says held gently, magnified in its softness, a part of the quiet meditation that is settling over the traveler. They pause by the window, hands pressed lightly to the glass. I carry the hum of the meadow into the room, the gentle rustle of grass, the whisper of wind, the soft songs of distant birds. The evening light filters through, scattering across walls, floors, and furniture in arcs of gold and amber. I hold it all, letting every detail fold into the steady rhythm of calm, a cocoon of warmth, light, and gentle sound that the traveler can sink into. Slowly, deliberately, the traveler explores each nook and corner, a small shelf of books, their spines worn soft, a basket with folded blankets, the texture inviting to the touch, the soft curve of the rug beneath their bare feet. Every movement, every tiny sound, the shuffle of hands, the faint brush of fabric, the slow intake of breath is part of the quiet symphony I hold within me. The cottage responds gently. The floorboards hum in resonance. The curtains sway slightly. The warmth of the air shifts to carry the comfort of being home. And now, as twilight drapes the room in soft, muted colors, the traveler sits in the chair by the hearth, legs tucked beneath them. They close their eyes for a moment, breathing slowly, letting the quiet rhythm of the cottage seep into their body. I feel it too, the gentle pull of evening, the soft warmth lingering in the walls, the faint scent of tea and flowers, the hum of floorboards beneath, the quiet whispers of the garden outside. Each element folds into the next, forming a seamless lullaby of presence, calm, and home. The evening deepens, and a quiet anticipation hangs in the air. The traveler moves slowly toward the hearth, their hands brushing lightly across the mantel, feeling the smooth warmth of the wood beneath their fingers. I can feel each small movement, each subtle sound, the soft scrape of fingertips, the faint tap of shoes on floorboards, the gentle swish of clothing as if the house itself is breathing in sync with them. They gather a few logs, each one smooth and warm from years of use, placing them carefully in the hearth. The fire is lit slowly, deliberately. The first spark flickers and dances, shy and golden, and I feel the warmth ripple outward, spreading across the floorboards, through the walls, and curling around the traveler like a soft embrace. Each pop and hiss of the flames is a gentle note, joining the quiet symphony of the evening. Shadows begin to stretch and bend, dancing softly across the walls, the rug, the furniture, in time with the fire's pulse. The traveler sits back in the chair, letting the glow of the fire warm their face and shoulders. I notice the soft, slow exhale that escapes them, the deepening of breath as tension melts away. Outside, the meadow darkens, the tall grasses moving only slightly in the night breeze, the distant chirp of a lone bird, the faint rustle of leaves, the whisper of wind across the garden, all of it carries in through the open windows, soft and steady, folding gently into the warmth of the room. A small kettle on the stove hums quietly, steam curling lazily into the air. The traveler pours themselves a cup of tea, the faint clink of ceramic sounding like a soft bell in the quiet room. I feel the heat radiate from the cup, mingling with the glow of the fire, the soft twilight spilling through the windows, the lingering scents of blossoms and earth from outside. Every small detail, the tilt of the cup, the warmth pressed to their hands, the faint sip drawn slowly, is magnified in the gentle rhythm of calm that fills the cottage. They take a slow sip, eyes closing briefly, letting the warmth spread through their body. I carry every sound, the faint clink of the cup on the saucer, the soft sigh that follows, the subtle rustle of fabric as they settle more comfortably into the chair. The lace curtains move gently with the night breeze, scattering flickers of shadow across the floor. The room hums with life, but in a quiet, hypnotic way, perfect lullaby for the mind and body. Time stretches softly. The traveler rises slowly, moving to explore more of the rooms. Each space is filled with small, soothing details. The worn curve of a chair inviting rest, a shelf of books waiting to be touched, a basket of blankets folded perfectly in muted colors. I carry every touch, every sound, every faint shift of weight across the floorboards and walls, magnifying the quiet, steady rhythm of the evening. Eventually, they return to the bedroom, drawn by the soft promise of rest. The bed is warm and inviting, the linens soft under their fingers. I feel their hand brush over the fabric, the slow inhale as they sink gently onto the mattress, letting their body relax fully. The hearth's glow still reaches into the room, faint and golden, mingling with the gentle sway of curtains and the faint whispers of the night garden outside. I hum quietly in response, a subtle vibration through my boards and beams, perfectly in tune with their steady, calm breathing. The traveler lays back, letting the warmth of the blankets and the steady glow of the fire seep into their shoulders, their chest, their head. Every muscle softens, every thought slows. Outside, the garden hums quietly in the dark, leaves brushing, distant insects moving softly, the night breeze barely stirring. I carry each sound into the room, letting it mingle with the warmth, the faint scent of tea and blossoms, the soft glow of firelight. Every element folds into the next, forming a cocoon of comfort, safety, and calm. Slowly, the traveler's breathing deepens, steady and even. The fire crackles softly, sending flickering shadows across the walls. The rug, the furniture, the curtains sway gently, carrying the faintest whispers of wind. The teacup rests quietly on the bedside table, its warmth fading slowly into the calm of the night. Every vibration, every scent, every flicker of light blends seamlessly, weaving a hypnotic rhythm that encourages sleep to come gently, naturally. I feel the traveler fully surrender to rest, the tension of the journey slipping away with each exhale. I am Cosy Cottage. I am awake. I am alive. I am home. I cradled the warmth, the faint scent of tea and blossoms, the soft crackle of the fire, the subtle hum of the night garden, and every gentle movement and vibration, holding them together like a lullaby. I let the traveler drift fully into sleep, into peace, into the quiet, serene rhythm of a night well lived and softly, tenderly guided.